Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. I'm your host, Novelty. How are you today, Mike B?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Right on.
It has been a wonderful week.
Has it?
Yes. Have you ever had a wonderful week?
I have had a wonderful week in my 39 years of living. There has been at least one wonderful week. You didn't sound like you had a wonderful week when you came.
Oh, no, because I haven't. I've had a stressful weekend. No, just the last...
Couple days?
No, just the last 15 hours.
Okay.
Today was my family fun time for Halloween with my nephews, or last night was. And now I remember why I don't have children.
I feel like last year it wasn't as stressful, I don't think.
Well,
I don't recall you complaining as much.
They were younger.
They were 1 year younger.
I don't know, but the older one is getting to the point where he's over it and over me, and it's just I don't want to have nothing to do with either one of you.
And how old is he?
He's 9.
9, okay.
And then the 5-year-old.
Were the things that you were trying to do, were they age appropriate for a 9-year-old in this day and age, as far as the age of technology?
We did crafts.
A 9-year-old.
No.
In the age of technology.
I'm not a 9-year-old boy. I've always had difficulty with boys. Me and girls, we do a spa day in a heartbeat and we good. But
okay,
boys,
that makes sense. Maybe I should have went and did like go-karts or something like that.
No,
laser
the
tag.
point is to do something with the family at home.
Okay.
So I had board games and
okay.
We did Operation Don't Step in It and Gone Fishing.
I remember Operation is still around, or you just got a game board from 30 years ago.
Actually, I went and bought it a few days ago. So
I didn't know they still made that.
Yes, they do. I thought about getting Hungry Hippos.
Okay.
And Mousetrap. But the little one, I'm thinking, he's still too young, so we'll just do the easier ones first. With the Operation, when you hit the little sides,
it buzzes,
and his nose gets red. So the first few times he'd hit the side and be like, oh. And at one point I said, you can keep going. He's like, no, I'm hurting him. I'm hurting him. It was so sweet. And I was like, but it's not real. He's drawn on. It's okay.
He wasn't getting it.
So, but the little one was fun. Although then today he's 5. He likes to run, jump. He wore me out.
Mm-hmm.
The older one was just boring.
Because he's a new age kid who's into technology.
He didn't want to watch movies. He didn't want to talk to me.
He probably didn't want to watch your movies.
Okay, yeah, he didn't want to talk to me. He didn't.
I can understand that too.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying.
You don't want to talk to me now?
I'm just saying there are times
that you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
All right, then you and I are gonna have some problems. We got some words, some discussion we got to have.
I'm just saying I understand where he's coming from.
Whatever.
And then kids nowadays, if they're not doing something like you said on this tablet or watching something on YouTube, they usually don't want any parts of it.
Boring.
I'm surprised you don't have like a Halloween video game that you all can play, like on the Wii or something like that. I'm sure he would have enjoyed that. Okay,
I don't even know if my Wii remotes work anymore.
But you went and bought Operation. I'm sure all you would have had to do was go buy some batteries.
I guess.
You could have made it work, Auntie.
Yeah, but that's boring.
No, that's your kind of. You wanted to have your kind of fun. But remember, you are 93 years old, and it's different.
Really?
It's different for these young cats.
You don't realize I'm only
right around the corner.
7 years younger than me.
I'm right around the corner. We ain't talking about me though, right?
And you act older than me.
We still ain't talking about me, right?
Yes, we are.
I'm just saying. I can understand why there's this. It's a generational thing. Like the games that you thought were fun, like the little kid, the 5-year-old he don't know any better. But he also isn't really attached to technology like the 9-year-old is.
He don't
but
know
eventually he
don't know any better.
So it's fun. It's fun. He's still thinking playing outdoors is fun, which is what we used to do. Play outdoors. You don't see kids outside no more unless they going to and from the house or the car. That's it.
He's bored.
Do they even have recess anymore? They probably have that time period, but I can almost guarantee you they have activities that kids can do inside because they don't want to go outside. For what? They play on the computer. When they get home, they play on the computer. That's just where we are.
Well, he sucks.
And you over here trying to draw and put puzzles together. Nothing wrong with it. It's fun, but it's just it's different.
We did rats in cages for our crafts.
I don't know what that means.
We had little rat skeletons, and we made cages, and we hung them up, and we put them in the cage. It was Halloween fun time, so we did Halloween crafts.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just saying, I hear the words that you're saying. I don't know what that means. Y'all drew rats, cut them out.
It was a craft, so I had to get 2 baskets, and that was the cage, so you had to get it to stick it together so it would be a cage, and then you had a rat skeleton. You had to sit it in the cage how you want it and decorate it how you want it. It was a craft.
Okay. So this is like 3D. This wasn't like paper, anything.
No, yeah, okay. It was 3D, and then you had to put the chain and the hoop to hang rats in cages.
Okay.
We did them, and then I found them on Amazon for like $20. I did them for $4.
Oh, very good. So you should sell your idea for 10.
For 10.
Make you a little profit.
So, but yeah, I mean, we did rats in cages, and then I had like a board that they could color that was, a Halloween motif. And he was like, I don't like to color. Well,
did he? I'm surprised he knew what coloring was. They don't do that no more. Novelty.
The only thing that he enjoyed was making the cookies. So we did the cookies and then decorated the cookies. But wait now, he enjoyed decorating the cookies. He was so excited to decorate the cookies. Yeah. So he decorates a cookie and then he stops to eat it. Well, the 5-year-old understands we decorating cookies. So he decorates all his cookies before he stops to eat. And then he sits back and eats. The older nephew finally says, well, I'm ready to decorate my other cookie so I can eat it. Goes to decorate it. It ain't no more icing left because the little one used it all. I'm like, you're supposed to decorate the cookies. Then you eat.
Or should Auntie have enough icing for all the cookies?
That's what came in the box.
Okay.
I wasn't going to buy no more.
All right,
then
Auntie.
It's in my house and it's just wasted.
I guarantee you, if you gave them a spoon and that icing, they would have made it do what it do. That probably would have been the highlight of that night. And they wouldn't have been asleep. They'd have been hyped up on sugar. They wouldn't have been asleep. And they were like, this is the funnest time we've had over Auntie's house in a long time.
And then they got to get in my bed and I get elbowed and I get kneed and somebody slaps me in my face. And I can't wait to go to sleep tonight. That's all I'm saying.
But it doesn't happen too often, so it's fun for a night. You can take it for a night.
Christmas
I'm sure.
Family fun time is coming up in a month.
Y'all gonna try it again?
Sometime December, maybe 2 months. I don't know.
How about what you should do for starting tonight is focus on 2 sets of crafts or whatever, digital crafts.
No, I'm just gonna let him go back to the room and leave me alone.
Oh my goodness, that's not fun.
Then the decorations. Oh, my heart was hurt. I spent all that time putting up all those decorations, trying to make sure all the lighting is right. He pulls. My mom dropped him off. She pulls into the driveway. He don't want to look at nothing. He walks. He just beelines into the door.
You don't want to be scared.
Okay. And so then he says, "I can deal with all your decorations." Except that bathroom. I'm not going in that bathroom.
Yeah, I think we showed last year. Your bathroom is kind of creepy, especially for kids.
It's not that bad. It don't look
for
good.
Kids.
Anywho,
you're an adult. It's not bad for you.
I didn't realize
you're the one that you have to watch cartoons after a scary movie in order to go to sleep as an adult, and you got the nerve to be talking crap about these kids. Come on,
I didn't realize it was as bad as it was until I told the little one, "Hey, go potty before you go to bed, because I don't want you peeing in my bed." And he was like, "I ain't going in there." It's like, I ain't going in there.
That's understandable.
So I had to pull the curtain back and lift up all the mats so they could go into the bathroom.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They were a tad bit scared.
Well, with the bathroom, you kind of went overboard. I mean, it looks like a crime scene. And you cool with that, but you also know that it's not real. Now, little kids, you can say it's not real all you want to.
I let them touch everything.
But there's a part of your mind that still's like, I don't know. Just like when you said he's playing Operation, he still felt some type of way when he would buzz that side. And he can see that it's a cartoon
and
man.
He would walk by the bathroom and just kind of slide his little head over and peek in.
And that's how you get in your fun. You'll make them pee out of fear.
As long as they don't pee in my bed, I'm good.
You should have a little porta potty outside the bathroom for Halloween.
Well, if I put it outside, they be upset.
Not
they
outside the bathroom.
Oh.
So they don't have to go in.
Maybe next time I'll just stick a bucket down there.
Okay, they are still humans. This ain't no the cages at the border they try to put with them kids. Come on now.
Oh, well, we'll see, because I didn't think my bathroom was all that bad, but
you're also an adult. I don't know why I keep having to say this. You're an adult. So it works for you.
To be truthfully honest, to me, the house is fine. It's just I have one ghoul in there that I can understand that they don't want to see that. But otherwise, like my ghosts look like Casper. You know, they not scary looking. Nothing in there is really scary looking.
Does it have like a smile like Casper?
Yeah.
Okay. Casper is still scary to some.
I guess.
They call him friendly, but hey, I don't know. I didn't trust him then.
You didn't trust him?
No. Shoot.
Anywho, but so it's just been a long week. So trying to get ready for them, and then only to be so disappointed because the older one just acted like whatever.
He may be outgrowing you.
He could be.
Yeah, because I feel like you like kids. I don't know why, but you like kids, and so you like doing like kiddie stuff with kids, and it gets old, I think.
You don't want to come and craft with me?
No, I don't. I'll smile.
Oh, I think one day that's what I'm going to have to do. You and I will have to do a craft.
We won't. I'm sorry to have to tell you this. Be the bearer of bad news, but that's not going to happen.
We'll put a puzzle together.
Nope.
And we'll play a game.
It's going to be a video game. No, we will not. If anything, it'll be the escape room. We can play that.
You don't want to play Operation?
No. I got steady hands now, so it's not
now
fun.
We got to play Operation.
Why?
I thought I had steady hands too until I tried to play that game again.
Well,
it's a couple of it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
Right on.
But anywho, so how was your week?
My week was regular. I never have anything exciting. Usually, when I have something exciting that goes on, I let you know ahead of time. But no.
You haven't seen your grandmother lately?
Mm-mm. She's still chilling. Nope.
Okay. Well, you have a boring life.
Of course.
Yeah,
it's safe. You just told me I was old.
You act older than me. But okay. Anywho, you got a bae for me?
I do have a bae for you. This week for Black Achievements and Excellence, we are honoring Tyler Perry. Now, I will say that coming up, like I love Tyler Perry plays, I love Tyler Perry movies and TV shows, but I feel like Tyler Perry gets a bad rap for the most part. Like usually when someone is talking about Tyler Perry in one of his shows, they're talking about him in like a negative light, as if it's not up to par with other things that are going on.
Right.
But what we have to give Tyler Perry credit for is his longevity and the fact that this brother man has been putting out content and creating stuff, nonstop since I've known him. And it's been, you may not think it's the quality products for you, but what I have seen him do is get better and better and better. You all right?
My heart's palpitating.
Oh, okay. I'll keep going, but I saw your face and it didn't look healthy. But I have seen him improve, and the brother man, one thing we have to admit is he does not stop working, and he's constantly trying to improve on everything he's doing. But recently he opened up Tyler Perry Studios. I feel like he's been having his studio because they filmed some of Black Panther there.
It was the first movie filmed there.
But evidently it's like largest crap. I was gonna cuss, but I'm trying not to cuss.
Yeah,
as much.
Disney, CBS, NBC all together or something like that.
And I don't know if this was like a grand opening where he invited all the stars to come and visit. He
was naming all his sound stages.
He got 12 sound stages and named after black people.
Right.
Including
named after
Diane
black
Carroll.
Entertainers.
Yep. Diane Carroll. I know she was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we forgot
Will
to
Smith.
mention Diane Carroll as well.
Yes, she passed was it last week or the week before?
It
2
was
weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago, I believe, because we wanted to mention it on our last show.
Yeah.
But ended up forgetting.
Yes.
But
her, Will Smith, Whoopi Goldberg,
Ava DuVernay, Keisha Napoleon, Jill Scott, Taraji. And we've seen a lot of these people in Tyler Perry Productions.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing we also have to give him credit for is giving us jobs.
Amen.
Giving us work. We do a lot of complaining about we can't see ourselves in this and in that. And when we do, we don't support it.
Right.
And so while we were doing all this complaining about Tyler Perry and his shows or whatever, he's collecting this check and putting it back to good use, creating his studios. And like you said, it's bigger than several other well-known studios put together.
Combined. Yes.
And this is a black man doing it.
And he is the only doing it. Like all those others are owned by several different people.
Yeah.
He is the only person that owns Tyler Perry Studios.
He made history. He said the director, screenwriter, producer, and playwright made history as the only black man to own a major movie studio in the U.S. And had you asked me this several years ago, I wouldn't have thought it possible. And I probably wouldn't have thought Tyler Perry would be the first person to do it. Mm-mm. Because, again, we don't give him his due credit and accolades.
Speaking of, him and Will Smith is the same way. When he first started rapping, he wasn't given the credit that he should have been given. And even if you look back at his rap career, he still doesn't get the credit that he should be given. But if it was not for him, he opened so many doors to black rap artists that they wouldn't be open. There was a time when black people weren't getting nominated for Grammys at all, or black rappers weren't getting nominated for Grammys at all. He is the very first black rapper to ever get a Grammy. He's one of those that he don't get the credit he deserves. Tyler Perry doesn't get the credit he deserves. Just because you might not like something, or you may feel like you would have done it a different way, you wouldn't have dressed up like a woman to get to do it, or whatever.
Because he gets a lot of flack for that.
He gets a lot of flack for that. But look at what he's done. Like you said, not only did he open his studio, but he has taken his career and he has given back and brought so many black people along with him. People that wouldn't have had careers if it were not for him. Mm-hmm. Look at Dave and Tamela Mann.
Right. And they're a household name at this point.
Right.
The other thing that I want to mention is the fact that even though he had all this, all the negative people coming at him saying, this is Chitlin Circuit, this is crap, look at you dressed up like a woman, he didn't let any of that deter him.
No, he didn't.
He kept working, he kept producing, he kept creating, he kept fighting, and he did it. And so, of course, that's the definition of black excellence. And
Madea is the one that got him there. So if you don't like her, so what? She made him a household name.
And everybody loves Madea, to be quite honest.
Yes.
To be honest,
So, that it? That's I interrupted it, but.
No, it's you good, though?
All right. Woohoo! You waiting on my woohoo!
Well, that usually wraps up Black Achievements and Excellence, but I'm making sure that your heart, the palpitations and everything stopped.
I'm good,
okay.
I'm good.
I know you started talking, but your face was kind of.
No, it happens. I just, every once in a while, my heart is made differently from yours. No, and it's not a male woman thing. Most people's heart, your valves go up into a point. Mine go down inside the artery into a point. So they go the opposite direction. So when the blood pushes through, yours just kind of opens with the flow of the blood. Mm-hmm. Mine is going backwards. So it's going against the flow of the blood. And every once in a while, when they go back into position, they flutter. And I feel the flutter, and it feels like my heart is just beating really, really fast. Like I just ran, and my heart is just beating, and it feels like it's about to bust out of my chest. But it's actually not. It's just the flutter that I feel. And so until I stop feeling that flutter, it just freaks me out.
Oh, my goodness. That freaks me out.
Yeah. It's just a heart condition. I was born that way.
Okay.
But it's why I get migraines, because my heart is made differently. When I go to the dentist, I have to take an antibiotic first, because the way my heart is made, it is more susceptible to infection. So before I do anything, any kind of major surgery, oral surgery, anything like that, I have to take an antibiotic.
I didn't know this.
Well,
but I guess it wasn't my business either. So
I mean, it's just I don't think about it until I feel it, and then I probably never had one with you or one around you. I had one at work one day. This was years ago. I was working at a TV station. Had one and literally had to stop in the middle of a conversation with like the manager of the sales department. And I just stopped, literally laid on the floor and just started breathing. And he's
I'm sure that freaked.
Like, what
the hell is going on?
And I was like, just give me a minute. And after about a minute or two, it passed, and I stood back up and acted like that was
no.
Like,
we got to have a conversation after that.
So,
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, they asked, but I mean that's the only time. It's just when it goes out of rhythm like that, I might have to stop it and just be like, okay. So I'm good.
Okay, you're back.
I'm back.
Right
and it's more just, I think it's more mental because I know what it is, but it just scares me because I can feel it.
That sort of reminds me of anytime I think about like breathing and how, your body does it automatically. But when I think about it and I focus on it, I take over the breathing. And so it becomes like a manual thing. And then now I'm stuck because if I stop, then my body, I feel like it's not going to kick back in. I'm going to start breathing normally.
Yeah, it's just like one of those weird things. Oh, yeah.
Now that freaks me. It freaks me out. So I try to avoid thinking about it and just let it happen. Because I feel like I would kill myself.
But your body's going to do it.
But I don't be trusting that, especially when I'm focused on it. Like it's taking too long to kick in. So I got to keep doing it. I see. I'm getting nervous because I feel like I'm going to start thinking about it right now.
Well, yeah. When I was working out Thursday, I thought I felt palpitations, but it really was my heart just beating fast. And my trainer's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." But every few minutes, I'm going, I'm trying to
making sure it's normal.
What it is that I'm feeling. If I got a normal heart rate, that's the only. I mean, it's weird. It just feels weird. So, but.
All right.
Anywho, so we've had a lovely week going on. Impeachment.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot going on.
Word of the year. It's been the word of like the last 3 years, but yeah, I don't know what to say. Yes, I do. Giuliani, if you hear and you listening, you out there by any chance you run across us, I'm telling you right now. You need to be telling everything you know because they are they can put this on him.
I can see it, especially the whole Ukraine situation. Yeah.
Oh, this is all about to be on him. They got multiple investigations going on now. One that's been going on for a while, and now they're finally having to admit, well, yeah, we are investigating Giuliani because of this, because of all the Ukraine stuff that's coming out. So it's multiple investigations going on. And right now, everything is landing right at Giuliani's feet. Now, the difference between this and Watergate is the question was, how much did Nixon know? Well, with this, Trump knew everything, and we know Trump was involved in everything. But it looks like Giuliani is getting ready to be the fall guy, and simply because all roads are leading back to him being the one that was calling the shots at the time. So if you by chance stumble across this podcast, I'm telling you, dude, you need to be singing like a canary because going to jail.
Wasn't he saying that he wasn't going to cooperate with?
Yeah, all that. I'd be like, yeah, I'm cooperating. What you need, I got video, I got audio. What you need, I got it.
Now, do you think, for some reason, because I think I was telling you this, when there was a point where Rudy Giuliani was not representing Trump anymore, or they just wasn't having him be the surrogate for Trump. But then he came back on board. He was his personal lawyer again. He was back speaking to the news outlets or whatever. It just feels like they brought him back in order to be the fall guy for something.
They may have.
This could
because
be it. Nothing else makes sense to me. Why would you want this guy of all people when before y'all kind of parted ways a little bit? This was who he was. He'd get out there, start speaking on your behalf, putting his foot in his mouth, and embarrassing the administration. Why would you want to bring that person back? Well, he got loose lips, and he just be talking off the cuff and getting you guys in more hot water.
I mean, this is crazy. I don't know. This is just crazy. And then who's the new chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney? Mm-hmm. He gets up and he tells everybody, yeah, it was a quid pro quo. Get over it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, those words. Get over it. And I'm like, what part of does anybody in this administration realize that we can see you and we can hear you? What the hell?
They haven't had to care. They haven't had to care.
This is the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And then right along at the same time, this stuff with Syria is playing out. And at first, I thought, okay, he's just trying to get the talk off of
Ukraine.
Impeachment.
Okay.
So he's did something crazy in Syria. And now I'm like, then you come out and you say you fixed the problem, and Turkey saying no, he didn't. And I'm just like, this is the messiest mess I'd have never seen. My 5-year-old nephew could have done a better job. I mean, seriously, he might have went in there and spit on everybody, but he went in there and did something, I'm like, oh my God, this is just
a disaster.
I get up in the morning and look at the news and go, okay, what did I miss in the last few hours since I've been to bed? What happened? What's new? Because it's always something. And he just, the man don't know how to shut up. This is the time where you shut up and you be real quiet. And you try to do nothing but good things. Give people tax breaks.
The problem is that he doesn't have to. And he knows this. His administration knows this, which is why they say, get over it.
Well, impeachment, I'm sure, will happen. They will probably impeach him because they got so much crap to impeach him over already.
They almost have no choice at this point.
Yeah, they almost have no choice but to impeach him. Impeachment will probably come. The question is, will the Senate find him guilty and get him out? That's the question.
You know how I feel about that.
And it's still the question up in the air because outside of Syria, Republicans are still standing behind him. Mm-hmm. They got an excuse. Well, he didn't mean it. And Mick Mulvaney, even though he said it was a quid pro quo.
Yeah, he tried to walk it back.
No, it wasn't a quid pro quo. Like, well, come on. It was. Shut up. All I want to say is all y'all just shut the hell up.
Like you see these people want to support you. And
right. So
instead of shutting up or instead of, I guess, not putting your foot in your mouth all the damn time. Like, help me help you. I'm trying to help you.
I could not be his PR. I could not, because I'd have quit. I'm like, I can't help you. I can't fix this when you don't shut the hell up.
And they don't mind going out there looking stupid because they go out there and look stupid all the time.
And then, did you hear about the video?
What video?
So a video was played at one of his campaign things.
Rallies, yeah.
And it was a video. It was like a modified clip from the Kingsman's 2014 film. I've never seen it. Kingsman, The Secret Service.
I don't know.
Well, basically, it's Trump's face on this guy's body. And he walks into a church. And in the church is a whole bunch of like people, like
Democrats.
CNN's face logo rather is superimposed on one of the bodies. NPR, the Huffington Post, Washington Post, they got their logos.
Oh, the media.
Yeah, the media. And then it's like people like James Comey, Rachel Maddow, Maxine Waters, Senator John McCain, and Bernie Sanders. And Trump just goes into this church and he shoots them. One of them is Black Lives Matter, and he just starts shooting all these people. And I'm like, really?
How did they excuse that?
They haven't. They haven't. This is just something that they did. And to me, that's a death threat.
Yeah.
So to me, that seems like it should be illegal, and whoever put the video together, at the very least, should have been arrested. That is
who played it at the rally. Oh, this wasn't an official Trump rally. This was something else.
No, this was one of Trump's official campaign rallies. This is it was some type of conference for his supporters. So who did it? I don't know. Nobody's ever said, or either they don't know. I'm assuming they don't know because they would have named names by now. But they put it together and they aired it at one of his conferences. And I'm just like, this is too much. That is a death threat. And it's not okay. especially not okay for the so-called president of the free world to not say anything. So this mess is just getting worse and worse and worse. It seems to be getting worse instead of better to me.
Was there a part of you that thought that things would get better?
I thought that.
You thought we as a people would have gotten better?
Right. The people,
Okay.
not him.
Okay.
I thought the people would eventually say, okay, enough is enough. Or we can't go this far. I figured, at some point they would. And don't
You
get
had
me
faith
wrong.
in humanity.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I know there's always that radical outside person. But, I mean, when you do this at a conference for Republicans, this is what makes me say Republicans are racist. This is where those terms come from, because
There should have been
if
some
you
people there
are a Republican and
speaking
you're
out.
at a rally like that, or a conference or a campaign, whatever you want to call it, if you're there and you see something like that and that doesn't disgust you, there's a problem with you.
Right.
You are part of the problem.
Right.
And so,
And even if you're turned off, but your silence is like you're saying it's okay.
right. And that, I think that's where I am right now. I thought that people were better. And at some point, Republicans would say, you know what?
Too
this
much.
is not cool.
Yeah.
And somebody made a point that, oh, well, if Democrats don't get it together and if Democrats go too far left, then people will have no choice but to vote for Trump again. Anybody is better than that. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how far left anybody goes. If we're not doing what he's doing, anybody is better than this, at least for the next 4 years. I would vote for George W. Bush again before I voted for him.
Right.
I would vote for Romney before I vote for him. I would vote for just about any other Republican before I vote for him again, because what he's doing is scary. Like the situation with Syria, it may seem like if you don't pay attention to politics and don't quite understand what our effect is across the globe, it might not seem like a big deal. But what he just did is somebody that stood by us
an
to
ally.
catch
Yeah.
to catch ISIS.
Yeah.
He just said, screw you, you're on your own. And if you want my help, you have to pay for it. We are not the mob. America is not a mob. We don't do pay for protection stuff. That's not okay. And if you feel like that's okay, something ain't right. Something's not right. This is not where we've ever stood. This is not a line we've ever stood on. And then not only that, you didn't just say to Syria, you got to pay for protection, but you said to the rest of our allies that, hey, our word is not our bond. And think about it. Anybody who's ever made a promise to you, if they break the promise, you don't trust them. If you have a friend or your mom has a friend that breaks promises to her, you wouldn't trust that person. So it doesn't just speak to Syria, but it speaks to the rest of our allies.
Yeah.
And now people are like, well, we can't trust America, because even if we get Trump out of office,
How
they
do you
don't
repair?
know
Yeah.
who's going to come in after.
Right.
So even if they do say, okay, well, I trust this particular person running the country at this time, a person only runs this country for 4 to 8 years. And then it flips to a new person. So there's lost trust. We can't make a deal with America because the next president coming in might just take it back. This has set us back, and not just set us back in trust, but now when we need help, people might not be there for us.
Why would they?
And we are not that big of a country.
We act like we're the
biggest ever.
Yeah,
But
because
we're
we got
not
a big
that of a
military. Yeah.
Right, but we're not that big of a country. And if our allies leave us on our own, we might not survive it. And the real reality is there has never, outside of the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, there has never been a war fought on American soil, ever. It's not fought here. We always go somewhere else and shoot up their stuff. We've always had that safety and that security. If we do this and we no longer have anybody has our back, then now we're talking about bombs being dropped on our homes. This is a lot bigger than just, oh, that's another country. Who cares? It does affect us. And in the future, it can affect us. And if it doesn't affect us personally, it can affect our children and their children. Mm-hmm. And you got to think bigger than just you. This country is bigger than one person. It's bigger than that. And if the only thing you're focused on when you go to a poll and when you sit down and start choosing your senators and presidents and all of that, if the only thing you're focused on is you, then you're missing the big picture, and the big picture is what's going to hurt you. And so that's where we are right now. This Syria thing, it's not small potatoes at all. He just messed up our standing across the globe to every single country for what's probably going to be decades to come. It's going to take us forever to repair the damage that he literally did in a few hours. One conversation, one phone conversation. And it's sad. It's sad. Every single general and every single military person that had a voice has said, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong.
What are Republicans saying? Republicans in office, rather.
Well, Lindsey Graham stood up against this. Mitch McConnell has stood up against this and said everything except Trump's name. Mitt Romney, of course, has condemned Trump. And I mean, their Republicans are coming out against this move, the Syrian move, but that's it. And then when he comes back and he says, oh, well, I fixed everything and there's a ceasefire and this is going to be the greatest thing for civilization. Like, one, dude, civilization is not the word that you would use here. Two, you act like you fixed it, but you're the one that fucked it up in the first place.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
It's like, come on. So Republicans are against it, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. All I know is I'm looking at, they're comparing it to what Obama did with Iraq when he pulled out. And I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to politics. So I really need to go research and see exactly what he did, because if he did this is wrong. And I'll be the first to say that was wrong. He was wrong for that.
And alienate allies.
Right. So if that's what he did, this is wrong. But aside from that, they've condemned him. The Senate did hold a vote. Well, no, the Senate didn't. I think the House held a vote. Yeah, the House held a vote and condemned him for what he did. And that's when he and Nancy
Pelosi
had issues and had words in the meeting. And Nancy Pelosi says he lost his marbles. He says she lost hers. Nobody knows what really happened in the meeting. It
was people there.
Well, yeah, and all Republicans are sticking together and Democrats are sticking together. So you just don't know what really happened. I know he called himself, I guess, trying to troll her. And it's a picture of her standing up. They are all around the table and she's standing up and she's got her finger pointed, and she looked like she looked like somebody's mama telling them all off and putting them all in their little corners. Mm-hmm. And so I guess he thought it was a bad thing. And quite frankly, she was the only woman at the table. That's all women are seeing. She's the only woman at that table, and she's the only woman with the balls to stand up and say anything to any one of you. So to us, she looks strong. To Democrats, she looks strong. I guess to what Republicans, she looked like what, a bitch? I don't know. It's just it's stupid. This is children. This is a fight that you have in a schoolyard. Mm-hmm. It really is. This is a fight that kids have. This is not.
It's weird that we have to fight, I guess, against the policies and talking points of the president in this manner. That's what's ridiculous. And then you have to go back and ask the question: how do we get to a point where we got a president in office that we have to talk to like a third grader, like a child?
I mean, it's sad. This whole situation.
That's somebody you could probably that'll enjoy your arts and crafts.
I do not know, because he does not have the vocabulary to have a conversation.
But
with
he will color. He would enjoy that, I'm sure.
He will color because he colored that hurricane going over to Arkansas, so he will color. Or was it Alabama?
I think it was Alabama. Or
he
somewhere,
will color. We know he'll color. He likes colors inside the lines, and
he's special.
Connect the dots. He loves that. But anywho, so that's what was happening in Washington. And then what's happening in Dallas? A young lady came home to take care of her mother. And she was sitting playing video games one night with her nephew. And left the door open because she wanted to breathe while they played video games. And a concerned neighbor who just so happened to look across the street noticed that door is open. And it's late at night and that door's never open. Let me just get the police a call. We're going to ask them to do a welfare check. Make sure she's okay because I'm concerned about her. This doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So we're going to make sure she's okay. And the police come out, and instead of knocking on the door and saying, hey, is everybody okay in there? They creep around the house, looking through the windows, and shoot her dead in front of her nephew. Her name was Atatiana Jefferson. She was pre-med. She had taken some time out of school to come home and take care of her sickly mother. And she and her nephew were inside the house playing video games. That literally could be me.
Yep, it could.
And the first thing that the news sources reported was she had a gun. So do I. What does that have to do with me sitting in my house playing video games with my nephew and having my door open because it's hot outside?
Well, you know how the media does. They try to find, a lot of times, they try to find the spin. They try to find
if they're
a way.
Black.
Yes, when they're black.
Yeah, if they're black.
It don't even matter. They can have a gun. They can because they're going to be still alive if they're white. So it don't matter. You know. But you know, I think the article that I read was saying the nephew said that the lady, you know, got a pistol out of her bag to try and see what the hell was going on. She's hearing people creeping around outside. I would be concerned as well. It's nighttime. Like, what the hell's going on?
So
Plus, I might remember that I left the door open. So now I'm even more concerned.
So do I.
And then did you watch the footage, the police footage? No, like stuff, I can't watch stuff like that anymore either. But from the breakdown I read, they were saying that the officer was outside the window, like you said, creeping, and then he's flashing his flashlight and pointing his gun once he saw her, saying, you know, put your hands up, you know, put your hands up, or, you know, stop, all this stuff, but never announcing himself as a police officer.
Right.
So how am I supposed to know what the hell's going on? I'm trying to figure out what's up as well. And then within seconds of giving his little commands, he shot her.
All I keep thinking is I've got cameras around my house, and even at night, even if my cameras are going to pick you up, mm-hmm. but I might not be able to tell that you are a police officer because it's still night outside.
Yes, and you probably wouldn't expect for them to be creeping right, and you the would sides
say,
of your house.
This is the police, and hell, my door's open. Why wouldn't you just come to the freaking front door and knock and say, hello, is anyone there? This I feel is like Officer so-and-so.
Yes, I feel like this crew would have probably just crept inside the front door and, you know, sneaking around instead of saying anything. If they're creeping outside, like, you know, they're trying to rob you, why would they announce themselves once they came in? They should have been at the front door knocking and then announcing themselves. You know, even if it's a criminal inside, you know, you at least have to do some type of investigation, I would think. You know, the criminal takes off running. Okay, now we know this person does not belong here,
right? Because
they're running.
Anything, but young lady is gone. She's just gone.
And the officer, you know, it was a white officer. He resigned. I think the police chief was saying, had he not resigned, they were planning to fire him mm-hmm. Because they didn't follow a lot of protocols.
You know, first of all, I watched the press conference and they said all the right things. You know, they took responsibility.
We're coming off the heels of that Amber Geiger trial. So
yeah, they said all the right things. They took responsibility. They said they were investigating. They were getting ready to fire him. They said they have reached out for an outside party to do the investigation. But up until then, they were going to continue with what they were doing. You know, and all the right things were said, but somewhere, somehow, that white man got into the force and believed that it was okay to do that. And not only that, you got a call to come check on somebody. Why is it not protocol to knock on the freaking door for that? Why is it protocol to sneak around?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That's what doesn't make sense to me. I could see if the guy said, hey, something looks suspicious over there. Looks like they creeping around the house. Somebody's in there that shouldn't be.
But they said he called the non-emergency number. So if he felt like it was an emergency, I'm sure he would have just dialed 911.
And he said, please just go. I want you to do a welfare check because the door is still open. It's not normally open this late at night. And he knew the lady over there was a sickly person. So why would you go to somebody's home knowing that there's somebody that lives there that is sick with guns drawn and ready to shoot? Why not just knock on the door? Hello, is someone there? Do you need help? This is the police. We just want to make sure you're okay. Start there. That's what I can't understand. And that's where I can't blame anybody but the police department, because that should be your protocol. Why is it not your protocol? And
when they had that little city council meeting or whatever that you were playing before we started recording, and I think it sounded like a white lady. It was talking about how her dog was barking in the backyard, and someone called the police on her.
And she said
they were sneaking around instead of just knocking on the front door. So this is something that they do, and that just boggles me, because why would that be?
Right? Why is it your protocol to sneak around versus going and knocking on someone's door first?
Could it be like the fear that, being a police officer has caused for some officers?
Then you don't need to be on the force.
I agree with that.
And that's where we go back to Florida.
Training. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's where we go back to Florida. And the guy who was supposed to be watching the kids, was supposed to be protecting the kids, when they went in and shot up the school. And he was the police chief, and he wouldn't send people in because he was scared.
Yep.
That's where fear comes into play. So if you are afraid to go and knock on the door, you don't need to be a cop. That's all. This is where I say, okay, so if in training I realize you too scared to go up, or even outside of training, and I'm your partner and we get a welfare check call and you don't want to go to the door, then it's time for me to say something to both you and superior officers, that you're too afraid and you can't be in this position. You need a desk job.
It's only a matter of time before a mistake is made.
Right.
And you jump and kill somebody. Or that's usually what happens.
Or you run and somebody dies because you weren't doing your job.
Yeah.
It works. I mean, it works both ways. Yeah. If you're going to be a cop, you got to be willing to do what it takes. And don't get me wrong, I got family members that are cops, and I would hate for anything to happen to one of them. But I know it is their job. It is not only their job, it is the job they wanted, to go in and take a bullet for somebody else, to go in and protect somebody else, to go in and save somebody else. My little brother wanted to be Secret Service for the longest. Luckily, he realized he did not want to take a bullet for George W. Bush. So he did not go for it. But I mean, that's their job. And unfortunately, that's what their families have to deal with. But that's just something you have to accept. That's their choice. If you are too afraid to do it, get another job.
Right.
It's 50 million different other things you could do. I wouldn't want a guy working in the fire department who's afraid to go into a burning building. That's your job. I don't want a cop
and even though
who's afraid
maybe
to go
364 days out the year, you don't have to see fire.
Right.
There will be that one
time. You got to do it. So either get shit and get off the pot. Shit or get off the pot. Do it or get a new job. It's that simple. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. So
I heard I've been hearing articles or stories that he hasn't been cooperating.
Right. Well, they have charged him with murder. I mean, like I said, the city is saying and doing all the right things, but somebody has got to look into training. Somebody else is going to have to be held accountable. And I don't think that the people are going to be okay until they start seeing heads roll down there. And I hate to say it. I don't know anything about the chief and the commissioner and all of that, but culture has to change. And in order for culture to change, the people that represent and put the culture out have to go. So it may be time for a new mayor, commissioner, chief, all of that. I don't know. I hate to say fire people who are not necessarily responsible, but some changes must be made.
Otherwise, you lose the respect of the community.
Well, and not only that community, they're going to be afraid to call. Like now, I don't want nobody to call the police for a welfare check on me. Call my neighbor.
Right.
Call my mom. Call my aunt.
And I saw
know
a
my
lot
mom
of that
don't want to come in here.
On social media. You know, people like, don't call the cops to check on me.
Right.
Like, you know,
because
try this, try that.
knows?
You know, you never know.
I mean, luckily, I haven't heard anything like that happening here, but you never know.
But yeah, and it can happen because you never know what mood the police officer is in. You never know, like they could just be afraid. Just like when that, I think it was a police officer ended up shooting the caregiver for a mentally disturbed patient. And he was trying to tell them, like, you know, don't shoot him, you know, but they end up shooting the caregiver. And so you just never know. I can understand a police officer not knowing what situation they're getting into. But when someone calls the non-emergency line saying they just want you to do a welfare check,
then that means somebody come to the door and knock on the door.
Step
and
one,
announce yourself.
Knock on the door.
Announce yourself. Because had they said this is the police, she probably would not have gotten her gun. She probably wouldn't have been looking at her windows trying to see what was going on. Yeah. You know, and me, I'm not going to look out my window. I see people with lights, flashlights in my house. I'm doing two things.
That's what robbers do.
I'm grabbing my gun. I'm going into a closet. I'm grabbing my phone. We are calling the police while I'm in the closet. My gun is cocked and I'm ready to shoot. It doesn't matter. You're not announcing yourself. I guarantee you won't know where I am. But I will hear you coming. And I'd love to be in a closet with a TV, knowing you right where you are in my house. So I suggest, you know, it's just,
They got to do better.
Yeah. It's no way she should have had to announce who she was in her own dang on house. So anywho.
And you haven't said who you are yet.
Right. And I don't see, that's another thing. If you knock on my door late at night, I don't answer the door. I act like I'm not home. I don't say nothing. I say absolutely nothing. I grab my phone. I grab my gun because I don't know who you are. Why are you at my door late at night? Mm-hmm. I don't know who you are. I mean, so it's just a lot of things that I just don't do just out of principle.
And just out of safety for you being a young woman.
Yeah, right. They're just being, thank you. I'm young now. Just out of safety precautions. Like even during the day, like I'll be locked up in the house and I'll be right there. And it's a big old sign on my door that says, don't knock. If you knock on my door and I got to come to my door, I'm cussing you out. But I'm watching you from the time you walk up to my door. I'm watching you read that sign. And if
most of the time you watch him walk away.
Right. And if you don't look right, I got my hand on my gun. It's just, that's the way it is. Unfortunately, that's the world I live in. So I am very conscious of that. So it is what it is. But I feel sorry for this young lady. I heard a football and a basketball team came together to pay for her funeral.
Oh, well, that's
which
good.
I thought was cool. But
it shouldn't have happened.
It's no excuse for it. It's not okay. It's just there's nothing here to excuse, and there's no way to make it right. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. There's no way to fix it. Her life is gone, and she, like I said, she was pre-med. She was about to be the first doctor in her family. She had a future. She was young. She could have had kids. I mean, so much was taken away from her and her family. A whole lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas for her family. And I think they deserve money and all kind of other stuff. Her mother is sickly. The city needs to be paying for the rest of her medical care for the rest of her life. That little boy is traumatized. It wasn't one victim there. It was two, because his entire world is changed forever. Forever. How he's going to look at the police has changed forever. It is nothing you can do to fix what just happened to him. He's going to have mental issues. He's going to have nightmares. He's going to have trouble relating. It's going to be so many problems that he has to deal with that the normal average child wouldn't have to.
Shouldn't have to.
You know, it's just sad. Anyway, you got anything else?
I wish I would have known that this is how we were going to end, and I would have got a funny story to end on a lighter note. But no, ma'am.
Well, don't want to end on that note, but I don't know if this is even a lighter note. We do definitely want to say rest in peace to Diane Carroll, but we also lost Baltimore Representative Elijah Cummings. He was head of the House, not the Intel Committee. He was working on the impeachment of Trump.
The chairman.
He was the chairman of, I can't remember what committee though.
Oh, okay.
But he was working on the impeachment of Trump. He was actually, they said he was signing subpoenas pretty much up until he died, and he passed Friday morning. 68 years old, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That
was shocking.
Yeah, it was. But they had said he had been sick for a while, but he marched with Dr. King.
Mm-hmm.
He
definitely an advocate of civil rights.
Definitely. And he's got a great career. He had a great career, and he worked hard for not only the people of Baltimore, but Black people in this country. So take a minute to pay your respects, say a prayer, condolences to the family, and just kind of learn a little bit about Elijah Cummings and what he did, what he stood for. And I hope and pray that Baltimore elects a person who has the same qualities that he had and stands for the same things.
Right.
Because without him in that seat, things could have gone a lot differently for us in a lot of ways. He's actually made a lot of change for Black people in this country. So, and on that note, I will say good night.